All right. Hey guys, welcome to the live stream, another live episode in the series Persona of XYZ Intern, where we interview awesome people in the tech space and get to know their inspiring story. So today we have Chirag with us. Chirag is software intern at Google and he's a computer science student at IIT Guwahati and he has previously interned at Samsung India Research and Development Institute. So without wasting any more time, let's invite Chirag. I'll add him to the screen. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Chirag. Hi.
Hey Abhishek, how are you doing?
Hi. I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Like just stuck up in the lockdown, but yeah, I'm still somehow managing it up.
Yeah. All right. So I'll just give the stream a quick rundown of how things are going to be.
Sure.
First, we'll get to know Chirag better, hear his story, and then we'll ask some general tech-related questions, and then a Q&A round where you guys can ask any questions. And then, as always, we'll end the stream with a fun rapid-fire round, and that will be it. So, shall we begin?
Sure.
Right. So first question, if you could tell us a bit about yourself, like I've introduced you, but if you could just hear a short introduction from you in your words, a bit about your hobbies, that would be great.
Sure. So like as Abhishek has already told, I'm from IIT Guwahati, and like the technicalities like about my tech things. I guess we'll go through the stream, but let's get through the hobbies. Like I'm a big sports freak, so if any of you like are up for a discussion in cricket, lawn tennis, or football, you can always ping me up. I'm always there to have a like a, uh talk about that all the time. And currently, like I'm playing badminton. I guess you can see the badminton racket at my back.
Yep.
Yeah, and as all teens are, I'm a big Netflix fan also. So yeah, that's pretty much sports,
Mhm.
Netflix, and a bit of work.
Yeah, interesting, super interesting. All right, so now you're doing an internship at Google, and we'll begin with that in a bit. I bet everyone's super excited to hear all about that. But first, we're really excited to know why you chose this field of technology, software engineering, and computer science.
Like to be honest, I think like the answer I'll be providing for this, like it might be seem a bias, but the thing is, like my sister, like she's also from IIT. So when
Uh-huh.
she got into IIT, uh, like I was quite small, like I was in fourth class, but I don't know, like I had a dream, like from fourth or fifth class to get into IIT, and as I progressed in seventh or eighth, I really got interested in mathematics, especially I cleared RMO and all. That's other story. But yeah, uh, along with my childhood dream plus the interest in mathematics, I thought that would be the best field for me to pursue. And to be honest, like I have been enjoying myself for the last 3 years in my college and the work itself. So it has been a fruitful decision till now. So yeah, that is the basic story of mine.
All right, cool. And what's your particular field of work in computer science? Like, what specific field are you into?
To be honest, I'm still exploring. I have
Okay.
like I think it's too early to decide a particular field, but yes, like I have touched many domains which I have already explored, like
Mhm.
be it web development, be it Internet of Things. I'm still trying to like explore ML, which is quite blooming. But let's see
Right.
how that works out. And also, working on app development and all. So like I'm still like trying to figure out like what would be my final career direction. I think it's too early for
Okay.
me to judge, but yeah, I'm still exploring new things.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay. And now about exploring different fields and then choosing one. A lot of students ask me, how do I decide which field to pursue in? So, do you have any
Yeah.
tips for that?
Yeah, like I got an advice from a senior when I was in first year. Like I like that, and I try to follow it as much as possible. He says that do try like whichever technology you want, do try it for 21 days at least. I guess everyone have heard a 21-day phenomena, but similarly applies for this. Like try it for 21 days. If you're like tad interest, like let's say you're getting interest of like 30-40%, then go it for a 90 days, like stretch it out to 90 days. So that has been a case for me. Like I have tried to explore five or six things, and like some of those I got into interest, like let it be IoT, let it be Android development, and then I tried to learn more about it, do some small projects on it. So I think like especially for me personally, that has worked out till now, and like let's hope for everyone who is listening, they try to implement this and might work for them. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. Awesome, man. And now let's get into Google. So if you could just tell us what team are you working with at Google?
I'm currently working in app commerce team, like that's under G Suite. I don't know if
Okay.
you've heard about that G Suite thing, the business thing of Google. So I'm working on it, like, and I'm like working on Google Slides, the presentation thing of Google. So I'm there to add a new feature in that. So
Okay.
I'm currently working, and like
Right.
obviously I can't tell
Uh-huh.
the disclose the
Yeah, no,
other
sure.
things. Yeah.
All right. And then next question, how did you apply for this internship? Was it through career section of Google, or how did you apply?
Like uh, I personally applied, like it was in a non-campus intern in the first week zero. So like Google came to a college, like what we had to do, like we had to submit a resume, and like they chose out 5 guys and 5 girls, and then we had a 2 45-minute long like interviews, like by
Okay.
online, like, so that was the scenario for Google.
Okay, and can you talk a bit about the different stages of interview or different interviews that took place?
Yeah. So, like as I've already said, like the first stage is resume shortlisting, and that 5 boys and 5 girls are selected. And
Okay.
then the second stage was like there were basically two interviews. The first interview was like more or less about coding, like competitive coding, especially. So like they had like decent level of questions of DP and arrays. Like 2 questions were asked, like had to implement and all. I guess I'll focus upon that, like how to approach in an interview in a bit later time. And the second interview was also like it was mixed, like they talked about my projects, like 1 or 2 projects, like, and what I did in Samsung. And plus like one there, it was a very simple one array question. So the second was HR plus coding, like you can say that.
Okay. Uh-huh. All right, all right. And now, see, you've done this internship at Samsung R&D
Right.
Institute in last summers, and so can you talk a bit about different projects that you've done that got you into Google?
Yeah. So I think like students, like I like they tend to only do web development and ad development, or let's say ML projects. But especially in our curriculum of our college, like they have included some of the projects related to the core subjects of computer science. That's operating system, DBMS, compilers, and networks. So like I suggest students to also do that, through the curriculum we have already done that, 3 of the courses of networks, DBMS, and OS. So that is like one section regarding to curriculum. Then coming to web development, that's a simple Django projects and Node.js projects I have done. App development also, like I'm like I would say fairly acquainted with app development, Android Studio. So yeah, like through that, like me and my team, like we were 4 friends. Like we had also won an Inter IIT gold medal this year, like 2019. So in app
Nice.
development itself. So that is one thing, and the other thing is like I've done 2 projects on IoT, like Internet of Things. So I think like that is not a much of an explored field like right now, and I'm still exploring it, and I think that's pretty good going for me. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, and how do you advise someone to prepare for a software engineering interview? Let's dive into that.
Okay, so the first, like especially for like if you're applying off campus, let's say, so the first and foremost thing is how to get an interview. And then it's about cracking an interview. So getting an interview is the like quite a hard part, I think. Let it be off campus or on campus. Like so that part includes your resume, and that's the most important thing. And for resume building, I would say like CPI is not only the factor, nor is the college the only factor. Like they do play a role, I do think. Like not like I don't think not more than a 5 or 6%. And personally, I don't have a very high CPI in my college. Like I'm not even in, I guess, top 15 or 16 of my computer science batch. So still my resume got selected. So what are like I guess Abhishek, you also have a resume building video, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I like to add some points in, especially in the resume section. Like like 95% of times do try to make it only one page. Like many of the students in my college who were like, I would say, more capable than me or more deserving than me, they like they destroyed their chances in Google, I would say, as an intern, by making a 1.5 or a 2 page CV. I guess that's a very downside, and that's number one point. Second point, try to put those extracurriculars and PORs, whatever those things are, do at the last, and at max do 2 points. Like, do keep it, don't ignore that. Like, ignoring it also is a bad option, and stretching it out for 5 6 points is also a bad option. So keep it up as minimal as possible, 2 or 3 points. So that's another point. Another thing is do as many projects as you can. I would suggest, like for, I'm saying this for resume building. Let's, we'll come over to cracking the interview. So resume like are about projects. Let's say, like, so do at least 4 or 5 of the projects, and do it like you should know the basic, like not the basic, even the mediocre level of working of the project. So that's the most important thing, I think. And if you're applying in third year, I would suggest try to get an intern in a second year summers, or the December, like the winter intern of 1 or 2 months. That is really a plus point. Like especially for me, like for all the students, I would share a story. Like for all the students, 5 boys that were selected, everyone has their USP, unique selling point for the resume. Like mine was like I was one of the students. Like only 2 students were selected. One of the students to get an intern in Samsung from my college. Like other guys were like some were have cleared their ACM ICPC in second year itself. That's quite a big achievement. And
Yeah.
others were like having a high rating in code chef or code forces. So do keep your one thing as a USP that is like really unique from almost all the students in your college. So that really sells you out. So I guess like that's for resume building.
Yeah, great advice. And definitely the one page thing, cannot stress on it enough. But even I have seen like students, they make like 2 pages resume and put so much stuff, but really you just have to, put in the best of what you've got. So like as you
Right.
said about projects, because they'll shortlist you on the basis of projects. So you just have to really show them that you're capable through your projects and stuff. And that's amazing. So yeah, great advice on that. Right, man. Now,
Right.
next thing that I wanted to ask you is, um, let's talk about DSLGO comparative and development. Like people have this question: how do I balance? What do I do? What do I focus on more? So
Yeah. So I'll share it via my story. Let's say what I started was, obviously everyone starts with DSLGO. So I started in my third semester, and I guess obviously the first point of starting is DSLGO for sure. So I suggest you should like first get mastery in that and just not dive into competitive coding. That's the mistake I tried, like I did in my third semester, to be honest. Like I was not like I did DSLGO, but not like fully, and I straight away dived into competitive coding and code forces and culture, and like it really like what I say, like it dropped my morale a lot. Like in fact, like my third semester was like I would say it was a full of wastage, because I was so much depressed and like so much morally down that uh, that destroyed my third semester. So I would say first get fairly acquainted with DSLGO. uh, I am sure like there would be hells, like tons of resources online. One of those GFG, Hacker Rank, Hacker Earth. So yeah, just go on one. Just pick it anyone. There's no better, no bad. So pick anyone and just start doing. So for me, I did Hacker Earth. Like students prefer Hacker Rank, some prefer GFG, some prefer Spoj and all. So yeah, like just pick anyone and start doing the questions. So that's the first step for DSLGO. Next, in my fourth semester, luckily in my college we have a software engineering program, like software engineering course. So uh, in a like I like in that course, like basically we had 3 or 4 projects, some on app development, some on web development. So luckily in fourth semester we got the opportunity to do, let's say, forcefully from a course side to do a project. So like that was a very good point for us, like for our batch. But if your college does not have that course, but so be sure to at least do 3 projects in your fourth semester, like before applying for any tech giant or any other company. So that's related to web development and app development. And now coming to the competitive programming, as I said, my third year was a third semester was almost a waste. So I again like let's say build up my confidence and started again in the fourth semester. So that like at that point I was fairly acquainted with DS and Algo. And now then when I started to like solve questions or give contest on Code Chef and Code Forces, it's helped me to build my confidence and the rating as well started to go up. So I would say like first DS Algo, and if possible try to do competitive coding and some like 3 or 4 projects simultaneously in your fourth semester. Like I would say that would be the best option for most of you. Like yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Okay, and next, how do you balance college stuff with other stuff? Doing questions, internships, projects. It gets really, really hectic sometimes. How do you balance that?
Yeah, I hope any of my professors are not listening this, but that like I am sure like 95% of of the guys who are the girls who are over here, they would agree with me. Like all of us are study on like in the last week, let's say. Like yeah. So that like I'm also that type of a guy. I study last only during last week, and let's say other three, like let's say if the college is if your semester is of 4 months, and for the other 3 months I try to like explore new things. Because like
Uh-huh.
if you are not I'm not this is not for MS students or higher study students for sure, like they have to concentrate on their curriculum. That's the very important part to get into very good colleges. But generally for software guys, like for the guys who are looking for a company after graduating, that these things don't matter a lot. Like do get your like touch or exposure of OS, DBMS, compilers, networks, these 4 5 core topics of code of computer science. But other topics, let's say some mathematics, some like even we had a biology thing in first year. So I don't
Yeah.
think that's much of an use. So yeah, for
Mhm.
those like that's only a 1 or 2 days night before the exam. And other time I would like strongly suggest to just concentrate like on your like building your resume, as I would say.
Yeah, totally. Okay, and from a few years of experience that you have in the tech space, do you have any advice for future software developers? Any regrets you had or anything?
Like a personal regret for me would be that uh, I was not open to like build a community or share a network, like start a network with guys. Like I had been, I wouldn't say a complete introvert, but yes, like I wouldn't approach anyone directly. Let's say till third or fourth semester. So,
Okay.
like, do try to connect to as many people as possible. Attend webinars, attend tech events. Like, personally, I guess the trigger point when I thought that this would be really helpful for me to connect to people is like there's an Aditya Birla scholarship, so it's in Mumbai. So, like, we alumni were called in Mumbai. So there, like, I got to meet like so many guys, like not only of my age, like that was an alumni thing.
Right.
So I got to meet like elder people also. So I tried to connect over there, and literally like that has been a trigger point for me in terms of making networks, making connections. So from that point on, I thought like this is also an integral part of becoming a software developer, and not only in terms of like
Yeah.
stay in a software development, it builds your personality. That's more important, and obviously it improves your communication skills. That's a plus point for sure. So yeah, like do make connections.
Totally,
I
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always suggest that. It sounds cliche, your network is your net worth, but it is so, so true. And definitely, if you have good communication skills, then that really helps in interviews
Yeah,
and every time you talk to someone. Yeah,
completely agree.
some great, great advice. Yeah, all right. So, man, I guess it's Q&A time. That's it for all the questions I had. And but before that, let's just take a little break. I mean, let's understand our audience better. So, guys,
Sure.
can you just type in me in the chat if you are attending such an interview for the first time on this channel? I just want to see how many of you are new and here for the first time. So just type in me and yeah, if you're new, type in me or I'm new or hey Abhishek, whatever you want to type in. All right. So I guess we have two, three. All right, man. So listen up. If you guys are new, I need you guys to do something. Okay, something you won't regret. So we do such interviews every weekend, every Sunday or every Saturday. So if you marketing time, yeah, dope good. All right. So if you're new, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you think we added some value, Chirag shared his story and some tips, then please drop a like and also hit the bell icon so you don't miss any videos. And also, I uploaded a video where a professional career coach gives you advice, some career tips. Bill Benoist, he's a great certified professional. And I uploaded the video just half an hour back, so do check it out. And yeah, man, I guess that's all for the marketing. Enough with it. Now let's begin with the Q&A. So, guys, go ahead, ask any questions that you have. But let me scroll up, and I guess we did have a few questions. Wait, what's your college name?
So yeah,
I
I'm
guess you
from
joined in.
IIT Guwahati.
Can you show his resume? You have it
Yeah,
on your
it's
website?
available on it's available on my LinkedIn. I guess like it's
Uh-huh.
below in the description.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guys, the LinkedIn, Chirag's LinkedIn is in the description, so you can go there and see the resume right there. Okay, all right. This question: since the placement season is about to start, what do you suggest is the best way to know you are ready for applying at top product-based companies?
Like the if you're thorough with DS Algo and let's say you've been to some of the competitive platforms, to just test out like whether you are ready to apply to some top product based companies as you said, I would suggest to just go through interview bit or LeetCode, any of those. I personally prefer LeetCode because they have that discuss section over there, and I guess many of the guys tend to not explore that, but that thing is really helpful. It has been a real like helpful for me in terms of that, like even if I am able to solve a question, i, let's say 90% of times I tend to find a better solution in that discuss section by any other guy. So do try out lead code or interview bit, any of those you're comfortable with, before like applying to those top product based companies. So yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Resume. Got up the resume. You'll find it on Chirag's LinkedIn, link to which is in the description. Okay, next, how to apply for Google internship off campus.
I guess they have the Google career site. To be honest, I don't think they take like for internship they don't take second year rights from off campus, but for third year rights they do take some of the off campus interns. But for that you have to really stand out for your resume because those numbers are really less. So yeah, for internship this is specifically for jobs. Yeah, like there are like tons of opportunity by Google, Facebook, Microsoft off campus. So yeah.
Yeah, so Tanvesh, you can go to Google's career section, and that's the only place to really apply for almost all FANG companies. Go to the career sections and check out any opportunities that are currently on or open. Okay, next, how should we approach for the final year project to make it count on your resume?
Uh, just a quick question. I don't like finally a project. Like, is it like a BTP or something? Like, if it's a BTP, that is more of a theoretical project. That like obviously it has to be written on your resume, but I don't think for a product-based company that is of much importance because, as I said, it's a theory, like more of a research or theoretical-based project. But yes, if you are looking for a like a development project or something like that, I would for sure like recommend to make a almost a complete project. Like don't leave it in between, as like most of the students do it in, like even myself, I do it in my second or third year. Like we just make a project, like when we learn about that technology we leave it. So don't do this for your final year project. That has to be written on a resume. Like try to build the complete website. Like let the features be less, but make it a full website or an app or ML, anything you're working about.
Yeah,
So yeah.
totally. And also, like I believe in final year we have to make minor project and major project. I mean, that's how it goes in most of these engineering
Yeah.
colleges. So also adding to that, I would suggest try to sort of make your minor project in a way that you can extend that into your major project, and so it becomes a really good project overall that you can really talk about in interviews. So, all right, next, how much DS algo is required? Coding websites have a lot of content.
Like I guess this is the dilemma that I even faced, and most of you guys would be facing. I truly agree with that. I would say like as I did on Hacker Earth, I used to pick one DS or one algo at a time. And like I would like do 15, 16 questions about that. And I guess like after doing 15 or 16 questions, you would generally get in yourself like whether you're confident in that topic, like whether it's stack use, any graph algo, anything like that, whether you are confident in that thing or not. Most probably you'll get to know that. And as I said, to test out that whether you are really good in that, the best option is LeetCode or interview. But like they do like competitive coding, as I said, like those do focus on ds and algo. But what do they like mostly focus in is your intellectual thinking. But for interview bit and let's say LeetCode, they have questions specific for ds and algo. So that's a plus point over there if you have to check your knowledge of ds and algo. So yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, sure. Okay. What according to you qualifies as a good project?
That's a very subjective answer. I would say like just uh, try to like if you're including 3 or 4 projects in your resume, just try to make them as diverse as possible. Like, let's say if you have one particular field that you're highly interested in, I would say like add 2 projects of those, then one and one project of the other fields that you have explored. That gives a like a hint to a interview that like you're trying out new things. Like if you just put out 4 projects of Android Studio, like as a second or third year intern, that's what I'm talking about, not as an experienced person, as a second or third year intern, then it gives that you're just like, going through ad development, ad development, ad development. You haven't explored other things. So I would suggest like do pick 2 projects of the field that you're highly confident in, and then one project of the field that you've explored through your journey.
Yeah. Okay. Next, what platform would you suggest for IoT projects? Raspberry Pi or Arduino?
Uh, I have like in Samsung also I had an IoT project. They have a altogether different platform, which I'm sorry I can't disclose because that's an internal platform. And then as a personal project, I had done it on Raspberry Pi. So I think like Arduino is also quite good, but like personally I haven't explored that field. So like I'm quite comfortable with the Raspberry Pi, and yes, it was able to do most of the uh, things that I wanted in the project. So I guess Raspberry Pi is good enough.
Right. So you had two one-on-one interviews, I think, with
Yeah,
Google.
yeah. So like if you're talk like I'll what I would like to suggest over here is like uh, I had my 2 one-on-one interviews. So what is the basic approach in those interviews are I would say like at one point I would say like the once you're selected for those interviews, more or less all the guys who have been selected, they let's say they have almost nearly not same knowledge regarding DS algo or competitive coding, almost nearly same knowledge. So what really stands out over there is how you communicate to your interviewer. That's like I would like I don't know how to more stress upon this fact, but like that's the most important thing in an interview time, like to communicate yourself, to like let's I don't want to like use this word, but to sell yourself, like what are your sell your ideas, sell your thoughts to the interview. So like whenever you're writing the pseudo code or even the full-fledged code, just like, try to explain him like what this line means, what this function means. So that's the most important part, like during a one-on-one interviews. So yeah, do
Mm.
focus upon that, and especially for Google, I guess they have 2 or 3 videos posted on their YouTube site, YouTube page. So do check it out before like going for any interview, let alone it be Google or any of the Microsoft. So like they really explain you well that what the interviewer really looks out for you. So yeah, do
Yeah,
check it out.
totally. And I'll add something to that. It's true,
Sure.
man. You need your communication skills because no matter how good you are at what you're doing, if you cannot convey that to the employer, to the interviewer, it doesn't mean anything. So totally. Okay, next, how do you prioritize the questions on LeetCode?
Man, this is the toughest thing I would say. Like they have around, I said, 1400 or 1500 questions. And to be honest, I'm still struggling to find out that perfect question. But yes, like I have a suggestion. Pick it up. Like what I have been doing personally for me, I just pick it up like any topic. Like they do have a topic list: arrays, DP, bit manipulation, graphs, anything or like that, and then just sort it by medium, like that difficulty level. And what I really approach is like, uh, let's say if you're a beginner in DSN algo, just do the easy questions first. If you're fairly acquainted, what I would suggest is do four medium questions and one hard question corresponding to that, because that would really helpful. Like, and to be honest, like pick any of the questions. Like that will that is not much of a factor there. But yes, picking up like four questions of medium and let's say one or two of hard, that is like really helpful to build your like knowledge in that particular topic. So yeah, I would suggest it.
Yeah. Okay, and this is related to code forces. Are ABC level problems enough for coding interviews?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like if you're able to do ABC level problems, let's say AB comfortably and C with a bit of a struggle, like obviously sometimes C problem on Codefest is a bit of a tough. But yes, if you're able to do ABC level problems, I would say you're ready for coding interviews. And yes, I'm talking about Div 2, not Div 3. Like if you're talking, like getting into the technicalities. So, yeah.
Okay, job or higher education? Well, that's that's your personal choice. But what would you prefer?
Uh, to be honest, like till now, job is the only thing I look forward. But I don't think like I think like that mindset could change anytime. Like yeah, I don't think so. Like sometimes you really get bored. Like right now, I'm like really enjoying my intern, but I have heard the stories of guys like who really get bored out of their job and go pursue higher education. So I don't know like what future lies out for me. So
Yeah,
for
and
now,
again,
it's job.
yeah, and that's like for you to decide. Like, gotta if you feel like you're ready for doing a job, if you feel like it, then that's okay. But if you feel like you need more time, maybe to sort of explore more things or to dive into one particular field, I think really higher education is a good option. But that's totally on you what you want to do. Okay, next. How to start preparing, I guess, to get into top product based companies as I'm going to join first year of college. Okay. So he's not from a top college. What should be his path to a top company?
As I've said, like first pick, like for the starting thing, like let pick any language, pick C++, Java, Python, any of these, and like for the first, I would say 5 or 6 months of your college, uh, just learn all the things about that language. Like for C++, learn all the STL libraries. For Java, getting more into OOPs and how do they actually function. So first and foremost is pick any language. That's not a barrier. Just pick any of the language you like. Second, dwell into data structures. That's the, I would say, like if you're really looking for a top product based companies and like you're really passionate about it, you can like for the first semester you can do like pick any language and learn about that. From the second semester, let's say you can really pick like start learning data structures. And as I've already told you, pick any of the platform, Hacker Earth, HackerNet, any of those. There are tons of those. I guess everyone knows that. Just Google and you'll get a list of those. So start with the data structures, then slowly keep moving on to algorithms. Once you're like fairly acquitted, then start doing competitive coding and some of the projects alongside with it. And I have seen students who tend to like not give importance to projects. So I would suggest don't do that. Like yes, competitive coding is really important for like fan companies, but projects not if equal importance, but yes, they do hold a like a very high importance in getting you into those top product based companies. So do focus upon projects also.
Yeah, great advice. Now, Anand, you have a perfect path. Just go walk on it, and you'll definitely reach a good
And as I've
place.
already said
I
to Anand,
uh,
I'll answer one more thing. do make connections like uh, for tier 3 colleges. I don't think like this Google or something come in on campus. So for off campus you really need a referral. Like if there's a referral, like I think that's a very big plus point. Like what, because sometimes they don't look into your resume. Like I guess like I've read somewhere that 7 or 8 seconds uh, recruiter looks at your resume. So if they have your referral, they'll look it for a longer time. So do, like if possible, do make connections and get a referral in that particular company. That really helps. So, yeah.
Okay, next question, Ritik. Is lead code contest useful for cracking coding round in Fang if you're not doing competitive?
Um, I would say any of the contests. Like yeah, I haven't tried much of lead code contest personally. I've just done one or two. But yes, like if you do any of the contests, let it be lead code, code chef, code forces, any of those which are a timed contest, that would like basically build your ability to solve a question in a particular time. Because obviously in a coding round you have limits on time. Obviously, like you have 2 hours to complete 3 questions or something like that. So you have to also focus upon that factor, that how to increase your speed. uh, so that is why you have to give some of the context, like whether it be on lead code, code forces, code shift, like that doesn't matter, but do give some of the context before like applying for coding rounds.
Yep. Okay, next. How did you land Samsung internship?
So yeah, Samsung in my year, like last year, basically, had started a new program as per Riche. So what they did, like it was their first ever batch of theirs. So like they had like picked 20 students, 20 secondary students from IITs and NITs. Throughout the country, and around 1 or 2 students per college. So that was, and through that, like we had to give our resume. Then we had like two coding tests online. So yeah, that was the basic procedure for Samsung internship. But I would say like unfortunately, it's till now it's only for like they do come only in IITs or NITs. So if you have to like get a internship in second year, you have to go out for off-campus things. That's the thing.
Totally. Okay. Which is the best course to learn DS Algo? Any suggestion on that?
Uh, uh, I would say uh, I don't know if how many of you have heard the name of Coding Ninjas. I don't know, but I took a course of theirs as like this is not a marketing thing. I'm not their representative or something. But a disclaimer regarding that. But yes, like their competitive programming course, like that, I would say that's a diamond in competitive programming. To be honest, like that really helped me a lot. Like, and almost all of my friends, like my close friends, took that course, and like they really got beneficial in that, because of the fact that for competitive coding, most of the guys like they really get demoralized in the starting. So to get a proper structure of questions, proper learning from someone, or proper learning of that particular algorithm for someone, that really helped me. But if you can do it, there are tons of videos on YouTube regarding this. And you like, if you're not able to join the course, like it's a paid course, it's quite highly paid, I would say. So it's a paid course. So if you're not able to get that, there are tons of videos on competitive programming and how to approach, and you can also check it out in YouTube. So yeah, that's not a barrier that you have to only join on, like let's say Coding Ninja or Coding Logs, whatever courses they offer. So you can obviously do it on that.
Right. Okay, next. If I have a great project in reinforcement learning, will it impact recruiter?
Uh, I don't think I'm a good person to answer this question because I haven't explored this field. So I'm really sorry. Like I am still exploring machine learning, so I'm not gone to that RL part. So to be honest, I am not able to. I won't be able to give this as an advice because it might be a good or a bad advice. So I would, in fact, refrain from that.
Okay, yeah, no, sure. So Nikita asked, which is the best course, and Tanvesh replied, practice. Yeah, practice is a great course. Okay.
Definitely, like the practice has to be there.
It would be really helpful if you could share your lead code ID so that we can go through the questions that you did.
Okay, I'll share it to Abhishek, and maybe if you could edit the description, Abhishek? Is that possible?
Yeah, no, I'll edit the description later on, and I guess if guys, if you are new to the channel, I guess you don't know about my WhatsApp group. So if you really want to stay up to date with everything, get all the links, so I would suggest you join my WhatsApp group. And for that, just reach out to me on Instagram at iSwiftShake, and I'll definitely add you. Just send me a message that you're from the interview session of today and you want to join the WhatsApp group. All right.
Great. So
But
I'll
yeah,
share my
I'll
ID.
share.
Yeah.
hmm, I'll share everything
So
with these guys.
okay.
Okay. Next, is JavaScript enough for competitive coding?
Uh, that's a trick question, I would say. But yeah, I have seen some of the guys in our college clearing out competitive coding with JavaScript because that is also becoming a mainstream language as we talk. So, like JavaScript is enough, but I would still prefer like the three basic languages: C++, Python, or Java. But that's if you're really confident in JavaScript and you've already like done JavaScript a lot, that's not an issue because most of the interviewers they don't care about the language and all. And also on all of the platforms, I guess especially for code forces and codeshift, they do have an option to solve the question in JavaScript. So I don't think that's of much of a concern for you.
Right. Okay. Does Google Summer of Code add plus point in interviews?
Definitely. Like especially like as it I'm assuming you're talking about Google interviews for sure. Like for Google interviews, that as I said, you should have your USP or unique selling point. So your GSoC thing is your unique selling point for Google interviews, especially. So if you're able to get GSoC or Google like kickstarts or whatever code they do have, and you are able to get good ranks in there, so that is really an important point that could really help you to fetch an intern or let's say job in Google. So yeah,
Yeah, and I can talk about this because I did GSOC in 2019. I worked with Amahi, and guys, trust me, it changes everything. Like in all the interviews that you said, they really like they're super excited to know about what organization you worked with, what kind of project, what kind of project you build, what features you introduced. So definitely, it gives you a good project to talk about, and also the Google tag, I guess, and definitely it helps you in everything related to Google. Like I won the Google Venkat scholarship, and every year I guess there are two, three people who have also done GSOC before they won the scholarship. So definitely GSOC will help you, and I guess Google Coding is no longer it's no longer there. They've stopped it this year, but yeah, all these programs, GSoC and Kickstart, and different hash something, I guess, all these coding
hashtag.
content, they definitely help you. Yeah. Okay, next, for Android development, which language would you suggest? Java, Kotlin, or React Native?
Uh, Again, that's a very subjective answer. Like I personally work on Java, but I've read few articles that Kotlin like would most probably overtake Java in terms of as the hot language in Android Studio specifically. So yeah, like if you could start like do Kotlin, I would prefer because that is like that has really simple features in that, like as far as I've heard or read in the articles. So yeah, Kotlin could be like a language to go on. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Abhishek Bhaiya, please make a video. All right, I'll take that. I'll note it down, man. I'll make a video on that. Next question: is Python allowed in interviews for questions? I love to code in Python, but everyone is forcing to use C++ or Java.
No. That's like 100% Python is allowed. Like to like
Yeah.
it's. I don't think like any of the interviewers would ever stop you from using Python. Like Python is like equally important as C++ or Java. That there's no like these three top languages. These are the three languages you can any of those pick it up. So that's not an issue.
Everybody's forcing to use C++ or Java. That's kind of weird. And I have heard this before. Like some colleges are like, you have to do Java or C or C++ to sort of get through the interviews. But I don't think that's true. I mean, Python definitely you can use that. Okay. Is it good to have published research papers in resume?
Would say like it would make an impact, but not that of a big impact. Like if you're really passionate and you're like still confused to whether go into a product based company or do your masters or PhD or something, you could consider like publishing any research paper because you are still not sure about your future thing related to that. And definitely for MS or PhDs or anything, research papers like hold like I would say 90 to 95% of importance in your resume. So yeah,
So,
for that field, those papers are important. But for let's say for a product-based company, I don't think so. Like they make a as huge impact as they do in MS resumes. So yeah,
okay, I'm in second year and I have no idea about comparative programming. Is it easy to learn? Let's just say yes. It's
obviously,
easy
man. Like
to learn.
you just have to Google, and I know like they'll give you a daunting long list of like articles, but to be honest, just pick one article and just start to follow. I don't think so. Like I know it's very confusing. I have been through that stage. It's very confusing to like start and like start to pick up a particular site to on which I should work. But just pick any one site and like give your time on that site, and definitely you'll be like
Mhm.
become a master in C for sure.
Totally. Will GSoC help me getting referral or interview call? Yeah, it
Uh,
will. GSoC actually like gives you a referral. It's part of this program. Like they give you a referral that's valid for I think 5 years, maybe three or 5 years. So it definitely helps you. And I mean, like if you haven't done GSoC, like then also if you can get a referral, that will really help you. Like a lot of students they do have a good resume, but since they have only 6 to 10 seconds to sort of shortlist your resume, sometimes good students they don't make it, right? So referral definitely helps you. I'll just leave it there. Okay, do we have any other questions? Let's see. Okay, yeah, we do have some. Get back to comments. For cracking Google off campus, how much rating should one have on Code Forces or Code Chef? How
uh,
much rating should one have?
as I've said, like that is an important factor, but like I would say, just don't dwell into like just don't keep on doing competitive coding just to get into off campus. Like do focus on projects, but for a specific rating, like I would say like 1600 plus on code forces and around 1800 plus, that's I guess 4 star on code chef. Like that would be a really like that would really good look on a resume. But yes, that's not the only factor. Like please don't like just take this into your mind that I only have to do CP. Do take like do spend your time on projects and other things for sure.
Mhm. Right. Next, how to start with GSoC. Man, I have like 10 videos on GSoC. So just check those out right on my YouTube channel. You'll go and you'll find a lot of videos on selecting organization, writing the proposal, and everything. So yeah, because it's going to be a long sort of speech on how to get started with GSoC, and we'll sort of drift away from today's agenda. So yeah, after this session, just go to my YouTube channel and you'll find a lot of videos, and they will help you. Trust me. Okay, do GitHub profile impact in resumes? Sorry, in interviews.
For sure. Like not with me, like I didn't like they didn't open my GitHub profile, but yes, like I've heard from my seniors during placements, what they do is like some of the companies, like if you mention GitHub link in your resume, they'll open that GitHub link on the computer, and then they'll just start to go through and look at your contributions, look at your commits, look at your LOCs, line of codes, and obviously look at your project simultaneously and ask you like what is done and all. And for this, like I've seen like at least I've heard that many of the students copy projects. I would like for 100% disagree with that. Like don't just copy the project. I would say like out of uh, out of 10 times, the 8 of the times interview will catch you that you have copied a project for sure. Like don't think that an interview is a fool and like he's more experienced,
Right.
is like 6 or 7 times more experienced than you. So like they'll for sure catch that you have just copied the project. Like they'll just ask you one trick question and you're gone over there. Like they do know the loopholes out there. So yeah, just don't copy any project from someone.
Mhm. Okay, development or CP, we've talked about that. Uh, Not a question, just an experience. After learning development, DS Algo makes more sense than before. Yeah, okay. I
Might
mean
be, yeah,
that's
that's a personal
understandable.
experience.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of also understandable because once you've done development, you sort of know where those DS algos are going to be used in the sort of real life projects. Maybe I guess that's why you
Right.
felt that from your experience. Okay, how to get great project ideas?
Uh, I don't think so. Like you should like first think about a project idea. Like I would say like if you're like new into that particular technology, first start to make simple projects, like a simple, like really simple. Like when I literally made my first Android project, it was just a login project, like simple login sign. But yeah, like that has to be a starting point for any of the field you choose. Then I am really like, I'm sure that with time, as you explore more about Android projects, or like as you explore more of the GitHubs of the people, you would start to get know about more of the great project ideas. Like myself, I myself like on my journey through Android development, I got to know some of the great project ideas. Like I don't know whether they are great or not, but at least some new project ideas, and that's how I have started to work upon it. So I don't think that's like you will just get an idea out of your mind. You have to research it on internet, learn about what people are thinking, and then with time, I'm sure you will get a good project idea.
Okay, rating, we've talked about that, man. We've talked about that. Okay, good question. How to be consistent while learning?
Yeah, so I would say that as I've said, like do like this is my personal. I would like disclaimer. This is purely personal, but if it fits for you, it's well and good. What I feel like I myself am not like I'm not like that type of a guy who would just sit 8 hours on a chair and just keep on doing coding, coding, and coding. So to be consistent, just try to plan out your future day beforehand. To be honest, and do take necessary breaks. Like once you are exhausted, like uh, do take a 2 or 3 days break from everything. Just don't touch your computer on something. I don't like this. This is a very unpopular opinion, but it has really worked for me that I sometimes take 2 or 3 workday break from my laptop and I really don't touch it. In fact, I watch some TV or Netflix or something like that. So that you have to be like give yourself the I would say edge up over there, that you have to give some of the breaks to you, because yes, it really becomes hectic while learning this DS algo or doing projects, competitive coding and all. So that's an important one.
Okay, more internships or more open source contributions?
Uh, for open source, I guess Abhishek would be better, like would be
Uh-huh.
able to answer better. I'm not that
Okay,
dwelled into open source contributions. Yeah,
so on this, see, man, open source contributions, they are definitely worth it. Like they are good, but then also when you're doing an internship, you get an experience of working in an actual company and that sort of environment. So that definitely kind of weighs a little bit of more you know advantage over open source contributions, but definitely open source projects and stuff, they do help you a lot. And I've talked a lot about open source in my previous webinars. And Tushar, I hope you attended them so you know, right? But that's what I would suggest. Though obviously you do need to do like minimum of 2 internships during your bachelor's. That's minimum 2 to 3. And other than that, if you can, then open source would be a great add-on to your profile. That's what I would say.
completely
Have-
agree. Like at least do like a 2 internship in your college time. Like whether it's a 1 month internship, but just do it. Like you will really get to know the corporate world. To be honest,
Yeah. Have you participated in Alibaba Summer of Code? I have not. I
neither
guess you
me
know.
like I, yeah.
But yeah, you can. I know a little bit about the program. It's just like GSoC, but a little different. So definitely, you can check out their website, and if it interests you, go ahead with it. What are the best ways to get a referral?
Okay, so like number one, best way is like either you have a friend, brother, sister, elder brother, sister, any of those in that working in that company or like that. That is the first best way. Second best way, as I've already said, like make connections on LinkedIn. Like whenever you are looking for a referral, like start making connections and just drop them a message and not just a simple hi or how are you message. Just make a detailed, I would say, a framework of the message that you'll be sending to everyone with obviously some customizations to whomsoever you are sending. So make a good like 100 150 words, like 100 words message would be good. And that way, I guess like most of the guys, like if you text out 10 guys, like if you message 10 of the people, 3 or 4 would be always ready to give you a referral, because the one who's giving referral also have an advantage at the company. Like I guess they get bonuses and all if that particular person gets selected. So they do have an edge over them. So if they really like your resume and your profile, they would surely give you a referral. No, I don't think like no one, anyone would like, not give you a referral for this. So
Yeah. And like reach out. The worst thing, they will not reply. That's the worst thing that will happen. So
right,
give it a shot. Okay. So we have an electrical undergrad who's doing the course at IIT. Our software companies open for them.
100%, 100%. Like in a college, uh, most of the software companies for intern, they were open for 4 branches. I'm talking about most of the companies like computer science, electrical, electronics, and mathematics and computing. So like out of like 95% of the companies do open for electrical, so that's not an issue. Yeah.
Okay. How much time will it take to become 4 star on CodeChef from 1 star?
uh, like it depends, I would say. Like how much have you done DS and algo? Like as I've already said, like first focus upon DS and algo and then move to code chef and code forces. So like uh, at this moment, if you're like stuck on 1 star or let's say 2 star for a very long time, let's say for 2 or 3 months, I would suggest you like like brush up your DS and algo skills, get more into deep into that thing, and then come back to a code chef platform, because I'm sure like it would be like lowering your morale. Like if you're like stuck on 1 or 2 star, that was the case for me in the starting times, as I said in my third semester. So like just brush up your DS and algo questions and then come back to code chef. So that's the important thing.
Hmm. Okay. During an interview, what are the main things to keep in mind?
Yeah, as obviously your intellectual skills, that is for sure, like that is the main thing. But as I've already said, like if you have got an interview, almost almost all the guys have the same intellectual level. So what really stands out is how do you talk, how do you communicate, how do you present your solution to the interviewer. Like uh, writing it writing a pseudo code, let's say on Google Docs, which I had during my Google internship, or let's say a pseudo code on the paper. That's where like that small thing, that's where some of the guys get stuck, because they don't know how to write a pseudo code on a paper. Like it seems
Right.
simple, but people do really get stuck at that. Another thing, as I've already talked, just communicate or spill out your ideas while writing the code, and give meaningful variable names, like whatever that variable name or method name, function name is meaning. That is another point you should keep in mind, like while going through the interview. Just don't give A, B, C, X, Y, Z. That is like what we tend to give, but don't like try not to give those names. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay, next. Which topics of DS and Algo were targeted the most in interview? Also, how much knowledge of core subjects OSD, BMS, CN is required?
Okay, so for TS, uh, stack, queue, arrays, vectors is a part of STL for sure. So these three and hash maps and all, yeah, hash map, that and only that's the most important thing I would say. Hash maps and hash sets. So that is with respect to DS. For algos, greedy algos, DP. some of the basic algos of graphs, I would say, like BFS, DFS, Dijkstra, Prince, and all, like those basic ones. Don't get into higher ones like float, Warshall, or whatever those are. Like, so that's not an important thing. Just do some basic algos. I guess GFG have a really good list of these. Like if you go on the top and you find data structure and algos, they have a really good list of those. So that is like these are the must to do DS and algos. And with respect to core subject, in internship, like not in Google, as I've talked to like most of the friends in my college, they don't really focus that much on OS, DLM, DBMS or compilers. But yes, for placements, they do really look for OS and networks. So for if you're like targeting placements, in terms of placements, so you have to get fairly good with OS and compilers for sure.
Yeah. Okay. And guys, as I said a few minutes back, just half an hour, or I guess it's been 1 hour now. 1 hour back, I uploaded a video on my channel where Bill Benoist, he's a professional certified career coach. He gives advice, and one of the things that he talks about in that video is when it comes to interviews, like getting to the interview, what it takes is your competency. So your resume has to be shortlisted, right? The CEO projects. But then during the interview, it becomes more about your compatibility with the company. Like they also want to see like if you would be a good fit for them, if they would really, sort of fancy working with you. So I would highly suggest that you watch that video right after this session. I put the link in the comments, best career advice videos. Do watch that. Okay, next. I think I can answer this question. Having a good social media presence like a YouTube channel will help for getting into MNCs, or it makes a bad impact. So, right off the bat, it does not make a bad impact. It just shows that you are sort of, well, now let me tell you, man, if you're not doing anything, all your bachelor's, you're just making YouTube videos, obviously that will not help you, right? Because you're going for a job. So, they need the experience, the projects, and all that stuff. But let me tell you, when you do apply, talk about. So I gave this interview at this company. It was some France-based company, and I was surprised to see in the interview they had literally gone through my YouTube channel. They were talking about my videos, and that was so surprising for me. I was like, man, you've done your research. But yeah, that's what I would say, man. It definitely helps you, but also make sure that it's sort of balanced so that it also portrays that you're good at balancing and managing different things. Okay. According to you, from which year is better to start competitive?
For sure, second year. Like if you're like in first year or like you're about to start, like the best time to start CP is second year for sure. But as I said, like it's the best time. But other like like even if you're in third year, it won't harm you in any ways. Like if you start CP right now, it's one of the three important pillars of getting a good company. So yeah, you can start it at any time.
Okay, next, do we have to know everything about the tech we included in the project or just the part we have implemented?
Uh, I would say like mostly the part we have implemented. Like personally, like when I was interviewing for D Shaw, like they had asked me about my project in Samsung, and that was regarding IoT. But uh, like as I had only worked for 2 or 3 months in that project, obviously I didn't know much of the IoT at that time. So yeah, like they do. Like the most important part is you should know what you have implemented. But even if they ask some of the questions, you can just throw your ideas. Or even if you can know that I'm still on the learning curve or something like that. Like I don't think that they judge you on that basis. They also know that you're like pretty new to that topic or something like that. So they won't really judge you if you don't know that particular new question they put at you.
Right. Okay, next. Interesting question. If an Indian applies for Google internships outside of India, like London, would that reduce his chances of getting accepted?
No, 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 not at all. Like, I myself have applied like for some of the Google offices in outside India, but it doesn't hamper your chances. Like, I don't even know that. I think like they don't even know whether you have applied for an internship outside or not. Like your recruiter in India, they mostly won't be knowing outside or not. So that's not an issue. I don't think so. But yes, keep on trying, apply for internships. Like to be honest, to get an internship in India off campus is quite tough. Like in fact look for other APAC regions. Like that is, I guess you'll find out their Google career sites. What are the offices in their APAC regions? Like that is Asian regions, Singapore, Hong Kong, and all. Two, three other offices they have. So they also have a pretty much good chance. Like you have a pretty much good chance to get over there. So yeah, that's how you can approach it.
Totally. 400%. Okay. By what process did you get intern at Samsung in second year?
As I've said, like Samsung started their new program for IITs and NITs for second year rights. That's known as Parichas. So like they basically had first two coding rounds, simple, not an interview, just coding rounds, and then it was based on resume shortlisting. So yeah, two students were selected from my college at that time. So just a disclaimer that is like they for like especially in my year they just went to IITs and NITs. So I don't know like whether they are planning to like expand that to other colleges or not.
Okay. So I guess that's all. That's it for the Q&A. If you do have any other questions, then shoot them right away. Otherwise, we'll move ahead. And it's been 1 hour, 5 minutes. Oh my goodness. Crazy. Okay, man, you've shared a lot of information, and I bet people really got something out of today's session. So,
Yeah, like, I really hope like they get really helpful like helped by this. And to all the guys listening, if you have any of the doubts or anything, you can always ping me up on LinkedIn. So I'll try to like get you back as early as possible. So that's not an issue.
you're right. So I guess that's it for the questions. Now, enough with tech and all that stuff. Before ending the interview, let's have a quick rapid fire round where Chirag, I'll ask you some really short questions and you'll have to give
Okay.
an answer in 2 to 3 seconds. Right?
Okay. Sure.
Are you ready?
Sure. Sure.
Okay. First question: tea or coffee?
Tea for sure.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs. I have a dog at my house, so for sure a dog.
Okay. 100 days without phone or 100 days with no in-person interaction?
Uh, I would say during quarantine times, the later one I would prefer like without any in person. But if it was a normal position, I would say 100 days without mobile phone. So yeah,
Okay.
that's based on my
Describe
current
yourself
situation.
in one word.
Sorry,
Describe yourself in one word.
I would say I'm inquisitive about new things. Like I
Mhm.
just tend to like if every time I get to know a new term, I just Google it and just have a short read up about it. So I would say I'm inquisitive about it, learning new things.
Uh-huh. Okay. DC or Marvel?
That's a tough question, man. Like those three Batman movies of DC is at par with all the movies of Marvel. But yeah, like if I have to choose one, I'll go with Marvel for sure.
All right. Okay. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Okay. If not tech, what other field can you see yourself working in?
I'd say I'll be a cricketer. I played district level cricket in my ninth class. So
Uh,
like if I haven't been into tech, most probably like if my parents would have allowed, I would have been a cricketer.
okay. Invisibility or super strength?
Invisibility, like yeah, that's like much more stronger
Uh-huh.
strength.
All right. And if you could take one person out to dinner, dead or alive, who would it be?
Uh, uh, I would say my dadi ji, like yeah, that like I really like. Oh, for sure, yeah.
Sweet man, sweet. Okay. And now my favorite question: $1 million or 1 million followers? What would you choose?
uh, million followers for sure. Like yeah, I like as I don't know how the monetization work on YouTube regarding million followers, but as far as I know, like yeah, like if I work it upon for 1 or 2 years, I could easily make $1 million. So hopefully, million followers would be a great choice. I don't know. So,
Yeah, last question. Now it's not rapid fire, but a message for 10 years into the future, Chirag. Do you have anything to say?
uh, okay. Uh, I would say like just don't keep on working your whole life. Just enjoy your life. I would say like make relationships with the other friends, like family, like give time to your family, and also do travel the world a lot. Like I love to travel with my friends and all. So yeah, like just don't like mug it or like keep on working all the time. Just ease
Yeah,
yourself.
Totally, man. Great sort of thing you said to yourself. And I'll clip this video out and send you 10 years later for sure.
For sure, man. Let's see how it goes then.
All right. And okay, someone's asking GOT or Breaking Bad.
I know you would judge me, but I haven't watched any of those. I'm more into a
Okay.
sitcom guy. So yeah,
Right. I'll just add one randomly. What's your favorite sitcom? For
Friends
fun.
for sure.
All right. Okay, so I guess that's all, man. That's all the questions I had, and I think someone's asking something. Um, what is it? What not to ask to the interviewer? Okay, so they asked like, do you have any questions? I guess it's about that.
Yeah, like first of all, like not in context with this question, do ask a question to your interviewer if he says what if you have any of the questions for me or not. I would suggest don't ask any personal details of the interview. Like this was an incident in our college. Like I don't know that was the reason he didn't get that internship or not, but I personally think that was a bad effect, like a bad thing to ask an interview. Like he asked really a personal question to the interview. Like he thought that he got very friendly with the interviewer, but I don't think like how much you get friendly, just don't ask any personal questions. So yeah, like but do really ask a question. That is a positive point.
For sure. Okay, bro. If I'm able to do A and B and Division Two code forces, how to do C next contest and also A and B faster.
And I've been through this like during my fourth semester. Most of you would have been through this. Like you are able to do A and B, then you really get stuck on C. What I suggest is like what I personally did, and it really worked out for me. Like just pick questions on code forces, like the gym part, question gym over there, and like just start like uh, check out the rating between. I guess they have an option to get a question from this rating to this rating, so that is the best way I can think of. Like that's what I practice, and it really helped me to like improve my skills in terms of uh, type C question and code forces. So yeah, maybe you can check that out.
Right. Okay, man. Good advice. And I guess, man, that's it, man. That's it for all the questions, guys. If you do have any further questions, reach out to Chirag on LinkedIn, and he'll be happy to help you.
For
And
sure.
yeah, man. And I guess good stuff. That's all. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this live interview. It was so good to talk to Chirag, and man, we really appreciate you sharing all these things with us. I'm sure everyone loved it, and it's going to help a lot of people who would like to intern at Google in the future or any other company in the tech space for sure.
For sure, for sure. Like, thanks for this opportunity. Like many of the students, like many of the guys, like they're duping me up on LinkedIn. Like, what is the approach and like what is the uh, process of getting an interview and all. But I think like with the help of this video, like most of the questions of all the guys have been
Yeah.
answered. So, yeah, but if still you have any personal code, like any of the questions left, you can always ping me up on LinkedIn. And I'll be there.
Yeah, guys, all the links are to reach Chirag are in the description. Go connect with him on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. And that's all for today's live stream. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Stay happy, take care, and have an amazing, amazing day. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye. Bye bye, everyone.